Well, hello, and a very warm welcome back to another week on my allotment. I say warm, it isn't. 7 degrees C, June. Anyway, you may have noticed a slight difference to the to the intro of the video. I've made a new purchase. It is a drone. It's called the DJI Neo, N-E-O. It's that small. Doesn't attract the regulations, it's too light, which is just as well because I'd ignore them. Yes, back when 2 years ago when I was 60, my son and his partner Nikki bought me a drone for my birthday. I was so shocked and thrilled. Anyway, I used it. You may have seen some of the footage, but in the end the batteries broke and I couldn't charge it. And I have to say, it got some fantastic shots aerially of the plot. Things I could never have done without it. But I was very stressed out flying it. You had to have a controller, and I wasn't very good at it. It didn't have stabilisation. It was all a bit shaky. Anyway, it gave me the taste, and so I've made this purchase. The beauty of this, sorry to digress from allotments, I will come back. The beauty of this is it has 6 predetermined, what's the word, programs, and you just set them up, follow, you go up in the sky, all the different sorts of things you'd expect a drone to do, and you don't need a controller. However, you do need a smartphone, and I don't have one. I tried to use my iPad, long story, I won't bore you, didn't work. So I went to my next door neighbour who's in his 20s and very switched on with IT, as you'd expect somebody in their 20s to be. And he loaded it onto his smartphone for me, put the settings on I wanted, and I can use it. So if in the future I need to change the settings, I need to go next door and pester him. I've pestered him about other stuff, he's used to it. Anyway, that's the drone, and in a minute I'm going to show you some footage I took on Wednesday when I was up at Bigswear on the River Wye, and I'll show you the different, if you're interested in the drone, I'll get it out the way now because I've got things to talk about on the allotment, but I'll show you some clips of me trialling it in the open ground that is the Wye Valley, because here it's a little bit restricted. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so you have to think for that for it, and use it in a way that it's not going to hit things. However, it has these propeller guards, so it's fairly robust. It'll hit things, bounce off and fall over and go again. Anyway, that's the drone, the DJI Neo. I'm thrilled with it. I've had some great footage with it in practice, and I'm hoping today will be no different. So that's that. On the plot, the big thing is the allium leaf miner. I've noticed on YouTube it's everywhere down south. It doesn't seem to be up north yet, but down south everybody's got it. And I've done a little bit of research, and I just can't find any definitive advice about what happens when you get it. And of course the ones that have all gone curled and gnarly, they're ruined. But I've got a lot of onions here that are fully grown, mature onions, and although the leaves look a little bit poor, I'm reluctant to throw the onions away. Well, I'm not going to, and we'll look into that in a bit. You know, as I'm going to dig them up today. They're going to go, and I've already dug up some of the other alliums. And it's strange with my leeks, and I'll talk about that in a second. My leeks seem to be okay. So anyway, welcome along. I'll show you some footage now of the drone working on the Wye Valley. I would say 2 things about the footage you're about to watch. One is, I apologise for looking so blimmin' miserable. My experience with drones is one of anxiety and tension, because when I flew it here a couple of times it just went. Luckily it came back, but it's a bit temperamental. If it wasn't happy, it would just run away and sulk. Anyway, this one is nothing like that. It's fantastic. If you've got a smartphone, there's a microphone facility on it that you can hold your smartphone here, and you can talk, and it will record onto the hard drive in the drone, and you get audio on the drone. Of course, I don't have a smartphone. I can't do that. You can buy these microphones, but again, I am well exceeding my technological know-how with what I'm doing already with this and that. So I'm not going to push my luck, and I don't want to spend any more money, to be honest. Yeah, we'll have a look at that footage, and then I'm going to talk more importantly about what's going on the plot. Undoubtedly, the best thing about this drone is that it takes off from the palm of your hand. And I'm going to demonstrate that, hopefully, now. So once you switch it on, you can scroll through the different programs to the one you want.
Circle, rocket.
Rocket. And then you press it, it has to look at you, it has to recognise you.
10 meters, rocket, 3, 2, 1.
Right, I have established that my plot now, in fact the site as a whole, I've been around the whole site, definitely has allium leaf miner. This is a sure symptom of it. It's all around, all the onions I've got. So yeah, I've got allium leaf miner. I've come to that conclusion. It's pretty emphatic. Now this bed is a bit sparse because a few weeks ago I took out all the onions, these are all grown from sets, that had bolted, and Cheryl has fastidiously and carefully chopped them all up and frozen them in freezer bags at home, so we've not lost that crop. But this is what's left, and I refuse to believe that I can't get a harvest from these beautiful mature onions. So these are all coming out today, and they are going home to be dried. Whilst that's ongoing, I'm gonna, with the help of my good lady, I'm gonna chop up a couple of these and have a look. Now, as far as I'm aware, all I've read says that if you've got allium leaf miner, it tends to be in the leaves, but the maggots, whatever they are, can crawl down into the bulb and damage the bulb. If they don't do that, you can also lose the bulbs through secondary infections. In other words, because they cut up and damage the leaves, that allows infection in, and we've got very wet, humid weather at the moment, so that might just encourage that. Anyway, I'm not sure, so, and I'm not throwing this away, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take them home, dry them, have a look at them, and see if I can't store these anyway. But there are others. Yeah, so there's another bed here, and these are quite mature, again, a little bit behind the others, but they're still good size onions. These Red Baron here, again, a little bit behind, but not much. And then this is the bed where I spotted it. The damage is far more distinct here. This twisting and gnarling, very obvious. And I don't mind losing these because these aren't as far on. And I have another bed the other side of the arch, which is the same as these. It's a strange old day. I think it's a clear blue sky. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at with the allium leaf miner. I'm not, you know, I've seen a lot of advice that says your onions are spoiled, discard them. Well, I'm not going to. I'm going to try my best to recover what we can, because I lost my crop last year to the slugs and snails. It was such a wet spring, they were all eaten when they were only very small. Anyway, that's where I'm at. But sitting in this row of flowers, potatoes and other seedlings is this. I use this every year. I think they have frozen fish in it. I got it from the farm shop. But these are leeks. You'll know that. And they're coming on a treat. These were sown on the 19th of February. And they're completely unblemished. I think they've been hidden in amongst the other stuff, even though they're next to a bed of what was garlic. And they're okay. So when I get that very fine, I'm gonna order some very fine Enviromesh, and I've seen it on the Garden Naturally website, and you can order it to the size you want. I think I'm gonna get a piece about 3 meters by 4, and it comes in at about 38 quid. It's not cheap, but if that means I can harvest and grow onions in the future, then I think it's money well spent, because the stuff lasts years if you look after it. I don't want to drop them. So that's what I'm going to do. When that mesh arrives, because as far as I'm aware now, the second week of June through till the end of August, we're okay. The leaf miner's not active, as I understand it. So they'll be okay now. I've got other smaller pots of leeks growing on at home. So I will plant them here. I'll be very careful about the edges, making sure these little dastardly flies can't get under the mesh. And I will be able to grow leeks, because again, come the winter, leeks are a real staple of our diet. They weren't years ago. We never really used them at all, but once I got an allotment, they've become a really important, especially with soups. Anyway, I'm rambling. That's where I'm at. I'm going to try and recover the onions I can, discard the ones that have been badly damaged and aren't mature enough. The garlic, I've harvested one bed, it's at home. It looks all right to me. I've got another bed of garlic here. I'm going to have a look at that today. Just dig 1 or 2 up and have a look, see if they're big enough to recover. But again, if they're not, I'll leave them in, because they should be okay now. And the leeks, when I get the Enviromesh, I shall plant those out. But let's have a look now what else I've done this week. This was a bed of garlic until a week ago, when I dug all the garlic up, and I had these brassicas at home ready. So the top 2.5 rows are purple sprouting broccoli, and of course, as you will know, that crops sort of March, April time, so I won't be cropping those until 2026, but you crop those when very little else is available. So they're a big investment in time, space and effort, but I think it'll be worth it. And then the rest of the bed is the club resistant broccoli, or Calabrese Monclano, which we like and I've been very successful with. Whenever I plant, because we've got club root on this site, I mean, what haven't we got, for goodness sake? But whenever I plant them, they're always club root resistant, and I put lime in the planting holes. So that's another bed I filled this week. I've stood here chuckling. I've just had an old man's moment. I couldn't remember the name of one of the beans I'm growing here. I'm going to say it now before I forget again. Borlotti beans. I've never grown them before, and my emphasis this year is on my beans is to save the beans, dry them, and use them in stews, etc. over the winter. Never done that before. So in this bed are Borlotti, my own saved runner bean seeds, and the butter beans that Danny from Grow Up Gardening kindly gave me when I visited his fantastic plot. So this is all planted up. I do have some spare plants there. You know, I was expecting some to be eaten, and they have been nibbled because we've had a lot of rain in the last couple of days. I planted these up 2 days ago and it hasn't stopped raining since. But they're quite large plants, so I'm hopeful that they'll survive. So yeah, that bed's now full. That was the last bed I had to plant. The tomatoes are doing well. Again, they've taken a smashing with the heavy rain and the very strong winds we've had in the last few days. But I've been very careful to make sure they're tied in as they grow. They do grow at a hell of a rate. You might be able to see the spinach that's interplanted, and that is now in the process of bolting. It always does. I'm never very successful with spinach. I made an effort. I've tried again, and they're bolted. But anyway, we've had a few pickings off it, so it wasn't completely wasted. I feel really sorry for my peas, pea aldermen. They have taken a hell of a bashing with all the winds. But I don't want to tempt fate. They've stood strong on these fantastic Harris fencing frames, and the pods are forming. And of course, one of the pluses of all this heavy rain is I haven't had to water these for a week or more. So they're looking really good, and I am optimistic of a good harvest this year. And if I bring you round, talking of good harvests, the strawberry beds have been phenomenal. We've had the pickings of our life this year. Fantastic. Cheryl's thrilled. I'm taking home at least one punnet every time I come up here, sometimes two. They are slowing up now, I have to say. Whether that's just their natural cycle or whether this cold, wet, windy weather is stifling them, I'm not sure. But it's a good news story. There are those moments on an allotment or in a garden where all that hard work, the frustration, the dedication, the physical labour all come together, and you think, yeah, it's worth it. This is one such moment. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm having a moment. That is orgasmic. Oh. You haven't tasted a strawberry till you've picked one you grew yourself. Oh. Oh, I need a moment to collect myself. As I was stood here, I've just noticed my first blueberry. So a job for today, and a priority is to get these blueberry plants covered, because the blackbirds will annihilate them. Even when I try and cover them, the blackbirds find their way in, the blighters. And we like our blueberries. More importantly, our grandson George likes his blueberries. Right, this is a moment, another one. This is a row of tubs of potato. Is Rocket first or second early? I can't remember. Anyway, the seed potatoes were planted in these tubs on the 18th of March. It may be a bit early, but Cheryl tells me she wants potatoes for dinner. So potatoes it is she's getting, even if they're only the size of peas. So together, let's have a look at what I've got. Oh, I'm picking one at random. Well, there's some in there. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh, it's going well. Well, it's not going to challenge Tesco's, but I'm very happy with that. I think I'll take out another one. Well, I think I've got my answer with the onions. The neck is all soft. That isn't going to store, that's not going to dry and store. So there's my answer, they are ruined. Having said that, I am still going to go take these home and see if we can't chop these up and freeze it. I'm still convinced I can salvage something from this slight disaster. So yeah, that's very distinctive. I don't know if you probably can't hear it, but it's squishy. That is a technical botanical name, that is, squishy. So yeah, very disappointing, and they're all the same. So there we go, I know now. Very fine Enviromesh is the only way, and that's for next year. But that'll be 2 years in a row the onion harvesters failed. Never mind, can't be helped. Bugger. The onions are out at 2/3 of the bed now, and in their place I'm putting these pumpkins Charmant from my own seeds. This bed would be ideal for the leeks, except from what I understand, sometimes the fly or the maggots go down into the ground and they wait, and for the second part of the season they come out. So it's no good me planting the leeks here, covering it in fine Enviromesh just for the allium leaf miner to re-emerge in September and ruin the crop from underneath. So something different has to go in. I've got spare squashes, so that's what I'm doing. I'll get these planted, I'll get the white onions out, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Well, there's the main crop onion harvest. I mean, if in any other year I would be immensely proud of that. That would be a wonderful harvest. And I'm reserving judgment, because if we can chop that up and save it in the freezer, well then nothing great is lost. But it is frustrating. But the thing about allotments is you will get setbacks, and it's how you react to that that counts. I'm not giving in. These are too good a look at, and of course it may be a failure. We may chop into them with a sharp knife and find that they're all soft and messy and they can't be saved. Well, then I'll have to accept it. But until such time as we find that later on this evening, then I'm going to hold out hope. And you know, even if this fails, then it's all about, right, next year I need to find a strategy that works, because the leaf miner's not going away, it's here to stay. I mean, of course, the problem with it is I mean, each year more and more of the beds and more of the foods that we grow have to be covered with mesh because of the increasing number of pests that we're finding. My granddad didn't have to deal with almost any of the pests we're dealing with today because of this global transport issue, that we're bringing in these pests from abroad. Anyway, can't help it. It is what it is, and we've got to live with it. So I'll let you know in the next episode how I get on with these onions in the freezer. Right, job done. Took a bit longer than I thought, but I'm very happy with that. So I've got a small row of my own saved seed Charmant pumpkins, as I said before, and then I've planted the remainder of my butternuts, which are called Sweet Max. I've been holding those in reserve as spares in case any of the others get eaten, but they haven't been, so I've stuck them in and they can get on with it. And then I think, I don't know because I've lost the label, I should know that by now, shouldn't I? For God's sake, how many times do I have to make that mistake? I think I've got 3 winter squash mashed potato. They don't trail like pumpkins and butternuts, they stay where they are and they grow as a bush. So I'm hoping where I've put them will be okay. So that's that done. All I've got to do now is put the canes and the bottles in for the watering. And when I've only dug the one potato plant out, that will do for our dinner tonight. But the pot, bearing in mind how much rain we've had in the last week, the pot was surprisingly dry. So I'm now going to water those remaining pots, give them a real good soak, because most of my water butts are now full again. So yeah, I'm glad I've done that job. It was well worth doing. Lots more to do. Just been watching some of my footage back, and I realised I said 2 things about the drone and I only mentioned 1 thing. The second thing is, obviously when it comes to stopping, whichever mode you've put it in, all you do is, as you'll see on the footage I've recorded today, you hold your hand out and it lands on that, comes to you and lands on your hand. In that direction track mode that you saw me walking down the avenue of trees where it's ahead of me, obviously you can't walk towards it because it keeps moving away. So all you do on that one, if you're interested, is you stand still for 3 seconds. It works out that you've stopped and then it comes to you. It's incredible technology. I'm really impressed with it. And of course you can buy a remote controller. You can even buy the virtual goggles, and you can move it around and control it as any other drone. But for me, in the limited use I want, it's absolutely perfect. So yeah, that's the 2 things. Memory loss is a terrible thing, isn't it? What is? Well, as always, trying to make a positive out of a negative. That's those onions that were badly damaged removed and put on the compost heap. And 3 winter squash mashed potatoes and a sunflower in their place. And of course everyone will say, oh, you mustn't put them on the compost heap. Well, I listened to Charles Dowding and he said you can put them on the compost heap, that's good enough for me. Of course the key to that is that it's got to get hot enough to kill off the grubs or the flies, whatever. And I'm not really sure, you can see the compost heap there. I haven't got any empty ones to tip it into. But of course, as I've said many times and bored you with, these compost heaps, either we move and I can forget about them, or we don't move and I've got to rebuild them. Either way, they're not staying like that. Right, let's have a look at some of this garlic. Wow. Oh, I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. Yeah, very good. Now of course I'm not sure if that's got the allium leaf miner in it, and I'm not sure if it'll store, but we're going to find out because that's what I'm going to do with it. So I might take the rest out. Let's find out if that was a fluke. And the answer to that is no. I've got another one, same size. I'm very happy with that. In fact, it's bigger. Well, that's a nice harvest. Very happy with that. Let's hope the boss is. She always enjoys the fruit, and I hope that garlic's okay. No sign of any allium leaf miner, but then I'm not that familiar with it yet, but I'm happy with the crop. Well, it's been a lovely day on the plot. The farm's having its open day, so there's all sorts of kids screaming and shouting down there on all the different attractions. It's lovely to hear. Anyway, I'll let you know how it goes with the onions. I'm not overly confident, but we'll see. And the garlic, yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure about the garlic. Can you freeze garlic? I don't know. Anyway, I'm very, very impressed with the DJI Neo. The fact that I can use it competently tells you something about it. It's it's a simple bit of kit, but the technology is very impressive. I hope that was of some interest to you. But the plot's looking good. Keeping on top of things just about. It's like trying to hold back a roaring horse. You think you're in control, but you never really are quite. Anyway, I'm enjoying the season. I hope you are too. So look after yourselves, and I'll see you next weekend hopefully. Until then, take care. Bye for now.